Seriously, you have to hand it to Shangri-La Frontier, most importantly, the author of the original source, because we live in a time where most video game focused anime, like either characters playing a video game, trapped in a video game, whatever it might be, is very surface level. Menu systems, basic RPG stats, not really a lot of complex thought. And the characters are acting like it's the best game ever. Yet Shangri-La Frontier, as we all know, made the game Shangri-La Frontier feel like a video game we all want to play. Which props, respect. But it's the real kicker is how this author said, nah, hold up. I'm not going to make one video game feel well polished. I'm going to make every video game this dude Sunraku plays as fleshed out as possible. And whether it's a glitchy video game that was, they just never patched it, and a group of people played it just trying to exploit the bugs, which we all know gamers would do, and I really enjoyed that. But I'm not going to sit there and say, oh, that game felt as complex as Shangri-La. But I might say that after this episode, because having an arc where we're multiple episodes in a different video game, which isn't the first time we've seen it, but this is the first time we've seen it in a polished video game outside of Shangri-La. And in doing so, this mecha video game that has one part Pokemon in terms of collecting and capturing other bots to improve and make your own, one part Attack on Titan with the story and everything, and then one part Gundam. This author could have easily just kept Sunraku playing Shangri-La Frontier and improving and fleshing it out. And we know he's gonna do that. But it's the fact that the dude's so talented and understands video games better than all these other authors out here that are struggling. The number of shows that have a dozen light novels focused around a video game centric story that have 5% of the depth that a small game that Sunraku plays for a couple of episodes is wild. Full live reactions over on Patreon if you want to see me dissect this show in real time over there exclusively. I love it. I really do. I actually have to say, I much prefer the 3D in this episode compared to last week. Last week, I felt like it was a little more sluggish is probably the best way to put it. Not because like the production was struggling to keep up, but just I think given the play styles of the two people. But going up against this girl Rust, who I have to say loved the character design, immediately I was like, she needs to start playing Shangri-La Frontier because I need to see more of her character. Because, I don't know, it was a good character design. I really liked it. And apparently she's the type of player who doesn't, switch her bot until she loses. And she's, undefeated. So everyone wants to beat her. Everyone respects her. But yeah, like everyone wants her downfall. Sunraku loses his first match against her, which is nice. I also appreciate that Sunraku's not this god-level gamer who does no wrong. We've seen Sunraku die a fair amount. Not to the point that we think he's trash at video games, but enough to say, oh yeah, he stumbled upon so-and-so boss fight or PK'er, and yeah, it makes sense that he didn't make it out alive. And for a game he hasn't been playing for, as he said, 3 months, I would hope a girl who is apparently undefeated in this game would beat him in their first match. And I love the fact that despite me thinking, oh, we're probably leaving this video game by the midway point of this episode, I quickly was like, I'm so glad they're not leaving this game by the midway point of this episode. I just absolutely love how it's not, I'm not going to say like the mechanics that I saw this episode were the craziest things I've ever seen. But when you actually take a step back and think about what they explained, this is a fully functioning video game. So let's take it top to bottom here. So you have obviously what we've seen from last week and what we saw in this week in terms of the fights. Okay, we've got player versus player, but there's also player versus enemy. So there's PvP, also PvE. But here's the thing. You have your basic story of like, okay, randomly some giant ass bots came down, caused havoc, and eventually the humans used their own machinery to create and combat them by mixing human with machine, right? Okay, basic story. Fun online video game. Look at the customization. So the way it works is that there's a couple of types, as far as we know, open eyes and closed eyes of these. If they're open eyes, they're just your normal, but if they're closed eyes, you can capture them basically like Pokemon and use it to craft new machinery, new weaponry. And the idea that you have clearly like gauntlets, helmets, chest pieces, feet, all that stuff is all customizable. We see that Sunraku has like thrusters. One of his weapons that he did is a camouflage, but apparently the camouflage is bad because it still shows the animation, so you can still technically see where they are. Sunraku somehow used that to his advantage, so he clearly has another item they don't know about because he came up with the giant king crab claw and ripped off her arm with one shot, which was amazing. You have all that customization, which is great, but the real kicker for me is just how good it clearly feels like the actual gameplay loop is. Sunraku and this girl, the initial fight, it kind of looked like they more or less played the same way, right? Like, my impression was from the two fights we've seen up to that point between Sunraku and that dude, and then Sunraku versus Rust, was that in general, it's just a difference of, you know, are they faster or stronger? Like, that seemed to be the gameplay loop. And it's tolerable, it's surface level, but it would get the job done. No, like, it's completely customizable. There's clearly multiple stats among all of this, and this feels like what a Gundam fan wants a Gundam video game to feel like. Because Sunraku's second bot that he made is a completely different beast and a completely different feeling piece of character animation in comparison. The author didn't need to go this hard, and the studio didn't need to go this hard. Last week, I definitely thought it was very noticeable it was 3D. You know, I didn't like it as much as the Crystal Scorpions. Still enjoyed the episode, but not as much as, say, the Crystal Scorpions. This episode, despite still looking just as much as 3D, I think what helps is that it was a lot faster. It felt a lot more precise, so rather than a lot of times very kind of clunky 3D sort of attacking each other, it was just missiles flying around, and it looked good. Like, they had very little room to breathe this episode, and they just, if it's cranking it up to 10, I felt like we cranked it up to 50. I ain't gonna lie, like, it was really well done. And that's the thing I like about this show, is that each game that they play, whether it's a video game that players are literally playing like a group of 30 just to try to find exploits and bugs in a game that's not gonna get patched, to Shangri-La Frontier, the ultimate MMO RPG, to this third-person Gundam Pokemon video game, the author is damn talented and is running laps around people who dedicate their entire career to one video game-like world and barely make it past surface-level explorations. And this dude is making a 2-episode video game feel more fleshed out than some authors' 12 light novel video game. Make it make sense, man. Shangri-La Frontier is goated. That's all I can say. Let me know your thoughts and feelings down below. Leave a like if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new around here. Of course, ring that bell and like I mentioned, full live reactions over on Patreon. And hey, while you're over there, I'll also give you a video shout out. So today we got Refact 972, Michael Latham, Dodus Grunt, Sleeping Knight, Valrix, Adam Dundorf, David Story. We also have Travis Rain. So I appreciate the support, everyone. Please take care. You all have a good one.